Today we're in the book of Job, chapter 7. Job, my suffering is comfortless. Yeah, I know what that's like. Why do I know what that's like? When you've got the whole world against you, all your so-called friends, family, everybody's against you. I live it every day. Verse 1, is there not a time of hard service for man on earth? Are not his days also like the days of a hired man, like a servant who earnestly desires the shade, and like a hired man who eagerly looks for his wages? So I have been allotted months of futility, and wearisome nights have been appointed to me. When I lie down, I say, when shall I arise, and the night be ended? For I have had my fill of tossing till the dawn. I remember years of that. Just every night, just barely getting 2 or 3 hours of sleep, just being completely tormented by the CIA, who was torturing me with, if you know, you know, they use electronic devices to torture you. And they did it to me for years, unendingly. Several years, maybe as many as 10. I thought I would die of sleep deprivation. It was so brutal. Our enemies are real, and some of us have enemies from the highest echelon of society. Well, the lowest, but the highest in power. Evil power, that is. I have been tortured by the CIA for 20 plus years, and no one does anything about these covert groups that do it. If you know, you know. Verse 5, my flesh is caked with worms and dust. My skin is cracked and breaks out afresh. My days are swifter than a weaver's shuttle and are spent without hope. Oh, remember that my life is a breath. My eye will never again see good. The eye of him who sees me will see me no more. While your eyes are upon me, I shall no longer be. As the cloud disappears and vanishes away, so he who goes down to the grave does not come up again. He shall never return to his house, nor shall his place know him any more. Therefore I will not restrain my mouth. I will speak in the anguish of my spirit. I will complain in the bitterness of my soul. Am I a sea or a sea serpent that you set a guard over me? When I say my bed will comfort me, my couch will ease my complaint, then you scare me with dreams and terrify me with visions, so that my soul chooses strangling and death rather than my body. I loathe my life. I would not live forever. Let me alone, for my days are but a breath. What is man that you would exalt him, that you should set your heart on him, that you should visit him every morning and test him every moment? How long will you not look away from me and let me alone till I swallow my saliva? Have I sinned? What have I done to you, O watcher of men? Why have you set me as your target so that I am a burden to myself? Why then do you not pardon my transgression and take away my iniquity? For now I will lie down in the dust, and you will seek me diligently, but I will no longer be. I know all this exact how it is. I know it to the letter. Why don't you let up for me? What Job doesn't know is Satan, he thinks God is doing it to him. And in essence, God is allowing it, of course. God is not punishing anyone. God is not a punisher. But he does let Satan sift us. And it is brutal. And you think God hates you. And you can't figure it out. When you can't find sin, you take out your magnifying glass and you think, where is the sin that this persists? Why does he allow this agony? Of late, I can just relate to it so much by just I'm not even going to go into details, but physical pain, just unending. Mental anguish, unending. The neighbors are evil, gang stalkers. If you know, you know, they're everywhere. The government has hired gang stalkers in every region of this country to force people into insanity or suicide or homelessness. Any way they can destroy us. The government is doing this, the CIA. There's many different names for it. There has been CIA operatives harming the Republic for a very long time. I don't know how they live with themselves. It's just innate evil that makes your guts shake. I've spoken in other videos how I throw up a lot because it's just a visceral reaction to just innate evil in some people. And again, we know that we're not struggling against flesh and blood, but it's hard to see that because that's what they're operating out of. They're operating out of a body, but it's the demons within them that are actually operating. So how do you fight this? Well, you can't fight it in the natural. The judges and the lawyers and the cops are in on it, oftentimes. Not all of them, of course. It's not paranoia here. It just is what it is. Freemasonry runs this country. God's not allowed to run this country. God's been kicked out of this country like God was kicked out of Israel and they had King Saul. God has been kicked out of this country. Satanic men rule. If you don't know that, then you're blind as a bat. Satanic men and women rule, mostly men. This is why we see such fallout in Washington. Notice how all the good women are either quitting, either resigning, or being forced out, however. If you look back, and I'm not saying women are superior, but the Bible does speak to this in end times, where women will become the advocates, and women will become the warriors, and women will fight the battles because the men are weak. And this is not about sexism or feminism. I am as far from feminist as you can get. I don't believe in a shred of feminism. That is not of God. That is of Satan. Women are not superior, and neither are men. We are created equal. Men have a higher spiritual responsibility than women do. But the fact of the matter is, I can relate completely to what he's saying here. That concludes chapter 7. The government is comprised of two types of people. People that truly do want to help, and people that truly don't want to help. I don't know what the percentile is of which is greater, but I can tell you this, from coming from a family that was political, not at the Washington level so much. Yes and no. Senator, mayor, House of Representatives. I watched this individual, who I will not name, go from a young, eager politician to an old political criminal with a hardened heart like stone. So if you go to Washington with bells on your feet and ring, and just ready to charge in and change the world, that's wonderful. But I'm here to tell you it won't happen, because it's run by evil. And whatever good comes, they quickly erase it, cover it up, eliminate it, and those that do it, we've watched it. You either understand or you don't, and if you believe in this political system, you're not awake. And I'm not talking about the woke group, because that's insanity. I'm saying awake in Christ. It's all in the Bible. We do not live in a society of peace. We do not live with men that are good. I know you want to believe it. I know you want to believe that people are predominantly good because that's the bullshit you've been fed, but it's not true. People are not predominantly good. They're predominantly evil. I had a district attorney tell me many, many years ago, and this was 30 years ago, more than 30 years ago. He said, Sandra, if you knew the level of crime, you wouldn't leave your house. You don't hear about the half of the evil that takes place. We don't know that the innate evil would terrify you to your bones. The Bible speaks of this in the end. If God does not shorten the time of evil, we wouldn't make it through. If he doesn't shorten the time of evil, we wouldn't make it through. We wouldn't survive it. It's so great. The abyss of hell has been and will be until Jesus Christ returns. The abyss is open and the demons are running free. And anybody that allows them in, they will come home and be with you, and they will corrupt you. Like I said, I live with it. I've lived with it, and I'm living with it now. Innate evil. Don't try to change it. Run like hell.